I think that's Apple TV.
I think you might be right.
I think it's Apple TV. Yeah. I'm not going to misspeak here and say who those were, but it sounded like Ron Darling.
Is that Boog? Is that Darling?
I think I know Ron's voice pretty well, but he's usually on SNY doing the Mets. So, but whatever, they had the right call. I was watching it live.
All right, explain this call to me though, because he doesn't catch it. He drops
here's the thing:
ball.
There's like an imaginary line from the wall going up at Yankee Stadium or any place to where the fans sit, and if the fan comes onto the field and interrupts a play, then it's fan interference. What the call was that it was just a foul ball. Was that Judge actually went into the stands, and once you go into the stands, it's legal for a fan to interfere and grab the ball, whatever.
So the ball is on the field of play side.
So if it's on the field of play side and that guy happened to get in, and you could see it, gets into the glove of Aaron Judge, that's fan interference. Now, 9 out of 10 times, I'll also preface this by saying it doesn't go the home team's way. That's a home fan interfering with a home player. It's going to be like a foul ball, and you give an extra life to the hitter. In this case, they're like, nope. Judge was well within the field of play, which is hard to see with the angles that actually I was watching it on the Yes Network, and Paul O'Neill and Michael Kay were doing the game. They both were going back and forth. Paul, who played right field for the Yankees for many years and on my teams and stuff, and then Michael Kay were like, well, if he's in the stands, it's foul ball. If the fan is near the field trying to grab the ball, it's fan interference. They gave it to Judge and ended the inning and the threat for the Guardians.
Do we need like an instructional video for Yankees fans? Do we need to say
I don't
something?
think it's going to help because they're not the only ones. Everybody's so stupid over a baseball.
Can you guys watch the Bartman play and realize this? You do not want to be this.
No, then in the World Series, two guys that accosted Mookie Betts. I mean,
same seats, right?
Yeah,
same
seats. And so I know security went right up to the people that were involved. We're probably saying what you're saying. Don't get involved in the play.
It's not the Mookie Betts play, though. Those guys
were idiots.
Malicious
and should
trying to
never
hurt
be allowed back in the stadium.
Right.
This cat,
he's like Bartman. He wanted the foul ball.
He wanted the foul ball. He's not an expert. He's not a pro. And
definitely not.
Almost made a great play.
No, he didn't.
So honestly, I thought it was the right call. I think the Blue got it right this time.
So tell me what happened in batting practice before this Angels-Red Sox game kicked off here this afternoon.
Yeah, because this is going to be a story that is bantered about a little bit. So I guess, and right now it's 9-8. What is it, in the eighth inning? 9-8 Angels in the eighth inning. So this pitcher for Tyler Anderson, who pitches for the Angels, and obviously, listen, a young pitcher, he got knocked around a little bit in Monday night's game, gave up 5 runs. Someone probably said they've heard the first base coach you were tipping pitches, or he was seeing, something to the effect of how the catcher was dialing up your pitches, how the thing's right by the shin guard. He could probably see a portion of where maybe they were pressing pitches and then figured out, oh, here's a fastball in.
I've been wondering about that because I've been trying to do that myself.
People have been stealing that. That's why the catchers now put their glove over their hand while they're pressing buttons.
I think you should, but there's still, I think I can pick it up. If I know the system like I think I do, and I've seen a bunch of them, if you're hitting like a button, the closest button to your knee, and I remember that pitch, and I can just be the little ant and tell my boys, hey, man, that's a slider. When he gets close to that shin guard, that's a slider. That's kind of easy to pick up, I think.
So what's being reported is that Tyler Anderson went after the first base coach Flores and to address it and basically said he's concerned about, you stealing signs or stealing my pitches and relaying them to the hitters. And as a former major league pitcher, I would say to Flores, you'll get somebody hurt if I find out you are doing that. And that's probably what Anderson said. But I give the kid credit, man. You're going up to an opposing guy in their stadium while they're on the field, and they probably have more guys on the field than you do. It's ballsy. And, no punches were thrown for a young guy. Yeah, for a young guy. Listen, I got in a situation with Eddie Murray because I threw at Willie Randolph one year, and Eddie came out, and we had it out. And obviously, he came into our stretching circle, so we're 25 guys deep and coaches, and Eddie Murray walks up
afraid.
to me. He ain't afraid of nothing, man. That's why I love Eddie. And I told him exactly what was going on, and he accepted my answer. He might not have liked it, but I told him, I said, I don't play that, and I don't show guys up, and he was showing me up in my mind, and that's why I threw one underneath his chin.
Wow.
And so Eddie, had his say, but Eric Davis and all my teammates were like right there ready to throw down, which I totally would expect because we loved each other and we're family. But in this situation, there were no punches thrown. The benches did not clear. When guys don't know what's going on, and it looks like it could be a heated discussion, just like this whole Florida, Coastal Carolina thing.
Right.
It's going to attract the other ants.
Well, you don't want to
They're going to be like, oh, I'm going to have to protect my guy.
And you've told me this over the years. You don't want to be in kangaroo court and getting fined for not being out there.
My favorite part is Alex Cora in his underwear and his
I gotta see this
stretch socks. Coming to the aid of one of his coaches.
I'm
because
feeling like he's got curlers in the hair too.
not
and
that bad, but yeah, he's half naked, and I think it's funny because we still look the same. Being around the game 50 years, the same stuff I saw with my high school coach when he would walk through in his underwear with his protective cup over the top. There you're going to see Alex Cora, on the field.
That's wonderful.
Listen, the beauty of it is I love angst. I love the fact that you did something that upset me. I called you out on it. We had the disagreement, and we settle it.
Right.
Whether or not it's put to bed, that's a whole nother thing, because now the Red Sox have to go to Anaheim June 23rd and play a series of 3 games, and you might see Mr. Tyler Anderson on the mound, and we might see some retaliation, or we might not. But the not knowing is the best part of baseball. I hate that we've taken that out of, like you talk about. We've taken you're not allowed to argue now, on so many replays and all this other crap. We can't take out the guy at second. We can't take out the catch. There's so much more certainty to the game. I think it takes away from the game, not knowing, on a bang play, the catcher might be, almost knocked out.
Well, there's a certain knowing of not knowing. Like, I know Anderson's mad, and I know he's going to hit somebody. I don't know if it's me or if it's Raffy. But I do know something's coming our way. Like, that's what I miss, is the knowing that you don't know, but you know.
Listen, I can tell you this story because I was all a part of it, where Norm Charlton knew that Mike Scioscia was relaying signs from second base during a game while he was on the mound. And the next time he faced Scioscia, threw 4 pitches at him and missed him. The stupidest part of it, and I would say this to Norm's face, was you admitted it to the reporters. You could have lied, but he didn't. He's like, "You're damn right." It's like a Few Good Men. You're damn right. I ordered the code red. I was throwing at him because you don't do that. That's it cost Norm 7 games.
Really?
Got suspended for 7 games.
The intent's bigger than the action.
Exactly. And it's like, listen, there's so many times where this has happened and really it's a nothing burger, but that also, that's why we hated the Dodgers. The Dodgers did Dodger things. We hated them for that. If our guy was doing it, we'd love it. We'd be like, that's great. We're stealing signs from second base and we're helping the hitter. If you're on the other side of that, you're like, oh, this is great. So if I'm the Red Sox guy and I'm getting the signs and it's helping us hit, you still haven't been good enough stealing signs. You're still 5 games below 500, and you're losing today, which you could go to 6 games. So if you're great at cheating, you're going to have hopefully a winning record. And, and it's in the details, as Alex Cora likes to say.
I was thinking about these details. Yeah.
But to me, Ben, it's all about the passion, and you love everything about the sport.
Right.
So even down to the details of I'm looking in your glove as you're gripping a baseball. These are the little nuances of baseball that so many people don't even know that are going on. So how this guy goes in for a curveball, how he goes in for a fastball, how he might grip a changeup, all of that might help us. So I got to pay attention. So just like you asked about the foul ball, pay attention. You walk in a stadium, don't be sitting there looking at your phone or drinking a beer and not paying attention in batting practice because a ball might come screaming at your face. And God forbid we don't want that to hit you. or your kid or anybody else. So it's more about being attentive at a baseball game is what we're learning today.
All right, this guy was very attentive, but he got smoked by 102 mile an hour off the bat. Kirby of Seattle took one to the face last night. They do say he's going to be fine. He's going to be okay, but I hate this part of baseball. This is my least favorite thing of all sports. Oh, I don't know why. I don't know why. I just feel like these guys and their reflexes are the best in the world. And when
sometimes not good
when
enough.
It's not good enough and the best in the biz can't handle 102 and it hits them in those spots, it's for me, it's like whenever you're playing in the backyard, and I always think of basketball, like when the basketball, I shoot an air ball and it's rolling towards those lights that my dad just put in the walkway, and I know it's going to hit one, and I can't do anything about it. That's what I felt last night.
All right, so George Kirby, if you don't know who he is on the Mariners, when Tim Wakefield, it was the anniversary of his death, his first pitch at Fenway was a knuckleball.
Yeah.
Okay, he's not a knuckleball
Classy
pitcher.
Guy, man.
He's from Rye, New York. Great kid. 6'4", 215. He's kind of a tall drink of water. And he throws a pitch last night, and off the bat, he's looking, but it looks like he doesn't realize it's coming right for him. Last second, he throws his hand up. It hits his thumb on his pitching hand, which would concern me as well, because hopefully he didn't break it. They've got DD next to him, which is day-to-day. And it deflects and hits him right in the right side of his mouth.
Thank God he got a piece of that.
Thank God, exactly.
Yeah.
He got a piece, didn't get his eye, didn't get his temple.
For the deflection,
for
too.
For the deflection, yeah. So they're like, oh, it's 102 off the bat. I don't care if it's 80 off the bat.
Right.
It's a rock. It's coming at me. I'm not getting a glove on it. I'm getting skin on it. It could have been way worse, is what I'm saying. And so George, after the game, was like, "Yeah, it's kind of sore around my mouth." He was bleeding. It's like with Nolan Ryan. Nolan Ryan actually pitched the rest of the game,
unreal,
with a busted mouth and blood coming all over his uniform. And I think he kind of wore that like a badge of honor.
Yeah.
For George, I think I'd have to look it up. I think they took him out of the game because they were nervous about it. Any shot to the head today, whether you're Paige Beckers or George Kirby, you're going to probably go into some kind of concussion protocol, or they'll check you out, make sure you're not concussed. But I think the scariest part is, again, this is part of the game, man. You throw 95, it comes back 105, 110, 115. You got to be able to either field your position or get out of the way. But just like a foul ball, just like you're pitching, if you're close to the action, this is what could possibly happen. That's the beauty of the sport. It's like hockey. I mean, hockey scares me more because those guys consistently.
I can't see that. That's a black little semicircle sphere,
and it's a hard piece of rubber. It's frozen, and it has taken lives. And to me, these guys are whacking it, and it's getting deflected because they could get their stick at an angle where it goes way up in the stands. And so, thank God, years ago they started putting nets up to protect the fans, but you could still be in spots in a hockey rink where at the lower levels where you're not protected. And I think that, again, whether it's a puck, whether you're at a NASCAR or an Indy race, always pay attention. There's always danger in some of these high level sports. And for George Kirby, his next outing, I can't wait to see it, because if you get one up the middle, see what kind of reaction he has.
So he is getting x-rays right now. They haven't released any of that data, how that looks. They're just checking them out. I think you're right. Like, if you get hit in the face, any kind of sport, anywhere, you take something to the head, it's a liability now for the teams and the leagues and the training staff to get them out and get them checked out. Just that, easier said than done, man. Easier said than done. Because, watch this frame for frame slow-mo is not even close to doing any kind of justice. We saw one with Oklahoma State. Georgia threw a curveball right back at him. He was fortunate enough where he gets his glove up and catches it and then walks off like, ain't no thing. But he knows, all these pitchers know, that is the most dangerous thing, because as good as you are, speak on the speed. By the time you're not even through your follow through and you're coming down with your shoulder, you're so out of position. And all you have is really your peripheral from your right eye and what you're seeing coming back at you to react. That's
a lot
easier
of
said than done.
A lot of it's feel as well. like say you're in a dodgeball game in elementary school, grade school, and someone's throwing it at you while you're looking the other way, and like you said, the peripheral vision, you see it coming, but you can't really judge the distance and the speed. So in baseball, they'll hit you ground balls in spring training, and they'll call it PFP, and sometimes they would hit it harder. You can never take the place of 100 miles an hour as your motion is going forward. And the physics of it, it's now a sphere traveling, at 100 and something miles an hour, and it's gaining on you quickly. And through the grace of God, you get your glove up or your hand up or turn your head. And we've seen guys, Alex Cobb. I still
I hate that one.
See Bryce Flory from the Red Sox getting it in the eye. And he lost a lot of his vision, and it cut his career short. So I've seen the worst of it. I always hope for the best. But it's kind of rare. I worry more at the lower levels because these guys haven't gotten enough balls up the middle. I got one. I broke an ankle in the minor leagues. I'll never forgive or forget Glenn Davis for doing it to me in Daytona. But that hurt. It still hurts. It's still, when I rub my leg and the inside of my shin, it still hurts.
That was off the bat.
That was off the bat. And if you've ever seen me pitch, my leg is straight up and down as I'm turning towards first.
Yeah.
It hit the inside of my left leg, and it's like I was like a sack of potatoes going down.
There's no way you're getting that. You'd have to go all the way down like this.
No, there's no way. First of all, I'm not. And I was a good player in high school, but I was not a great fielder at the major league level because I wasn't thinking fielding.
Right.
I got a Hall of Famer behind me. I got a great second baseman. All those. That's your job, brother. That's not my job. My job's to throw it, and then once it leaves my hand, I can't control what happens next. So the fielding my position, I wasn't an 18-time Gold Glover like Greg Maddux. Those guys, when they finished throwing the ball, they were in a position to field the ball. When I finished, my ass was to the batter, my leg was flying towards first base, and my glove was actually going towards center field. So I really was never in a position to field my position. And so for all the times I did knock balls down, or I kick saved a couple of them. I was kind of, those years in soccer helped me.
Yeah, hell
but,
yeah.
So I got one in the groin above the belt in high school. Got one in the leg there. Many came whizzing by me. And the worst one, it was another Eddie Murray. It was spring training, 99 on the black. That they, got on the gun. It was outside of him. He pulled it right back up the middle. I don't know how God threw my glove up in front of my face, but it protected my head. And I caught it. And that was when I was like, man, this sucks being right here. Because you're like 50 feet from that. And there's times when I'll wake up like, something's coming at me.
Like a PTSD?
Exactly.
Wow.
And I know it was that line drive that could have killed me.
Skenes might be having some PTSD pitching for the Pirates. 8 innings last night. He gave up 3 hits, 1 run, and a loss.
It's unfortunate. What do I always say?
Paul
You're
Skenes.
wasting that outing.
Big time.
You only have so many throws in your arm.
One of like 20 wasted outings in a short career for this guy already.
And by the way, McCullers, who's gotten all the death threats, he got the win. And
he was great.
Yeah, it was his first win since 2022. So all the things that have kind of been on him. But for Skenes going to be fine. As long as Skenes stays healthy, he's going to do Skenes stuff. Pittsburgh's got to figure out how not to waste these beautiful outings and how to start winning more games, not when he's pitching, every day of the week, because they're not that awful of a team.
Right.
And that's the thing. You're 22 and 39 right now, and yes, it looks like you're 17 out, and you need a 17-game winning streak just to break even. But for them, they got to start building and thinking, are we keeping this group together? Because I look at the White Sox a few years ago, before they fired Kenny Williams, who had helped them win a championship and built great teams in the past and stuff. But you have to start, if you're Ben Cherington, and if he does stay there as your general manager and president, start thinking about how do we build around not just this one guy. I mean, you've got O'Neal Cruz, you've got some of these other guys, Reynolds. There's some of these guys are pretty talented. Yeah. You're wasting their best years. And so firing coaches and not getting draft picks right and not getting free agent signings right, That you could sit there and play the blame game, but at the end of the year, after 6 months of work, what are you actually accomplishing? So if I'm Paul Skenes, if he goes out there at 35 starts and he has, like, say, 30 of these type of starts and 5 really bad ones, and he assesses his season and he's like, man, I could have won 18 games that year. It won't hit him till 20 years from now. That's, when you're thinking about, do I deserve to be in the Hall of Fame and stuff like that? We could have been in the postseason these years that we were very close. We were a 500 team. That's what I start assessing, are the years of failure that you had no control over. And so Skenes can only control every fifth day what he does on the mound. And so I look at those numbers yesterday, and they're so beautiful and so wasted. But there's a year you can go back with Randy Johnson where I was covering him and doing games. I was doing games. This was Brent Musburger for ESPN, and we did a bunch of games with Randy Johnson, and he lost 1-0, 2-1, 2-0, where he was pitching amazing game. We were just talking about Jacob deGrom. You don't want to waste too many of those days. That's what sucks about what we're talking about right now.